Hello everyone and welcome to the Tech Nurse channel. My name is Rob and today we're going to be exploring the idea of Ikigai. So Ikigai is something I wanted to explore a little bit more this year instead of setting a list of goals or New Year's resolutions. Every year I always start with resolutions, but it all ends up going out the window. So this year I wanted to try to explore something a little bit different. So the Japanese have a concept called Ikigai, which is the reason for being. And it really kind of goes into depth about trying to figure out why I do what I do. And it's one of those things, you know, if you do what you enjoy doing, you don't work a day in your life. So I wanted to start the year off by exploring what my Ikigai is. So Ikigai is a concept that includes a couple different areas. It explores or asks you questions about what do you love, what are you good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And really your Ikigai is the intersection of all of those things at once. So it's not a single job or answer, and it could change over time. For example, what you love today, you might not love a year or two from now. So it's important to think about these questions that you're answering and answer them in the current moment, but also keep your mind open to how these things might change. For example, if you're younger and what you're good at maybe is going to change over time, right? So if you're going into the tech field, you're good at something now, but you might be great at something in another 10 years, for example. And same, doesn't matter what age you are, honestly. You can always get into something new and learn new skills or hobbies and that sort of thing. I went ahead and I reflected a little bit about this myself, and here's what I came up with. So some things that I really love are learning, creating, traveling, health, and movement. So I enjoy learning, I read a lot of self-help books or things that could improve my career. I really enjoy creating and traveling. So creating content for you guys and traveling for fun and for work. Actually, I do travel for work, which I really enjoy. It kind of gets me out from behind the desk. I enjoy teaching. I do teach part-time on the side, and I enjoy health and movement. So anything to try to improve my wellness. It could be through movement, it could be through nutrition, meditation, mindfulness, and so on. So those are things that I love. But what about some things that I'm good at? Nursing, I went through school and I'm a nurse, hence the name Tech Nurse for the channel. Explaining complex ideas and systems thinking. So these are some things that I do every day for work, day to day. I have to take complex systems, break them down, and explain them in a way that is easily consumable by the people I work with. And then what does the world need, right? This is a kind of a philosophical question perhaps, but I think the world could use maybe a little calm, realistic guidance, specifically on health and wellness perhaps, right? That's why you guys tune in, or maybe one of the reasons you tune in for some of this content. And then we have to be realistic about everything, right? So we really have to look at what can I be paid for, right? So I could be paid for by working in healthcare, consulting, creating content maybe one day, not currently, and maybe educating. Try to explore a bunch of these different areas. And, an honest note about finding your Ikigai and asking yourselves these questions is to be honest, and you have to balance a little bit of security and a little bit of creativity and, helping others versus protecting your own energy, right? So you want to kind of find the balance between all of these areas. And some surprises that I found along the way is that Ikigai does not necessarily equal the hustle culture of today. It's not all about working your butt off, right, every day, and then taking on a second job and working weekends and that sort of thing. It kind of shows up in small routines, right? It comes from consistency and not necessarily the extremes. And it's okay if it's not perfectly clear yet also. The Ikigai is something that you develop over time. As you find out more information about yourself or you learn more, these are things that could be honed over time. So it's important not to get frustrated, just like creating a New Year's resolution, right? It's important not to be frustrated about asking and answering these questions. Rather, you want this to be something that develops over time. It's almost like a hobby that you could see yourself doing in the future forever, and possibly make some money on the side with. So applying the Ikigai, or my Ikigai this year, some things that I'm going to be working on is saying no more often to things that I don't want to do, right? And that is to focus more on the things that I do want to do and things that bring me that calm and bring me to a point where I'm able to, prioritize myself first sometimes, maybe a little bit more. Again, prioritizing perhaps some more sustainable habits. I actually just started keeping a habit tracker, which I could show off in a later video. And that's to make sure that I stay consistent with the things that I set forth for the year and things that are going to get me to my goal at the end of the year. And then creating for joy and not necessarily for validation. So I want to do this type of stuff because I enjoy it and not necessarily because I need to do it, right? Or, maybe, and the same thing goes for, like other projects that I work on, right? I don't want to have to do it to just check a box. I want to do it because I'm actually finding joy in it. So anything that I don't find joy in, I'm going to cross off the list. And then health as a foundation and not a project is a big theme that I'm going to be exploring this year. It's because I always find that I always try to do a lot of cycling or biking outside, cardio, lifting weights with the goal of losing weight. But maybe that's not the goal this year, right? Maybe this year I want to just feel healthier, feel better, feel more energized. So trying to establish perhaps a new mental mindset, I should say, for why I'm doing some of the things that I'm currently doing. And then just to kind of close out a little bit here, I'm not necessarily sure that I exactly found my Ikigai, but I do feel a bit closer to living it as I kind of have been journaling about this, writing things down, and that sort of thing. So I think it's important to kind of continually refine what your Ikigai is, or your reason for being, and kind of change it over time and just work your way through processes. Perhaps keep your own habit tracker of things that will get you there. And really invite yourself to ask questions such as, what gives your life meaning right now? And has your Ikigai changed over time? So just keep an eye out for those two questions and ask them every now and again, and just see how your answer changes over time, really. So thank you all so much for tuning in to this quick video today. I really enjoy providing content for you all, and this channel, as you can see, is kind of a little bit about everything. We're talking about health, wellness. We're also talking about some tech reviews. I figured the word tech nurse kind of envelops all of this. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Please subscribe if you haven't, like the video, and leave a comment down below on, what you're thinking your Ikigai might be. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you next time.